With all the big calls on all those big races, it's time for another What a Shout, a Racing Post flagship feature weekend show filled somewhere in the capital city in London. On a Friday morning, myself, Dave Orton, back with you. Delighted to be so as well. What a weekend we have got coming up for you. And a hell of a panel. We're keeping it in-house pretty much. Delighted to say, Paul Kealy, top tips of the Racing Post, is back.
Yeah, back, just about alive. About that horrible, well, they call it flu, don't they? But I don't think it was that. I don't think it was that bad. But it was enough to lay me low for a while. Sore throat, runny nose, cough.
I think a lot of people are echoing those sentiments.
It's one of those things. You haven't been ill for ages, have you? Because you've been masked up everywhere you go, and then you get something and you can't get rid of it. And it was like that. But the best part of 3 weeks, rotten it was.
I think we'll call it man flu or kills flu. Another person that has afflicted as well, but he's still with us. He was at Wetherby last weekend, back in the home office. Pat Cooney from our sponsors, Bet365.
Yeah, and what a weekend we have to look forward to, don't we? Breeders' Cup, Del Mar, where the surf meets the turf, Aintree, final day of the flat turf at Donny. What a weekend. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, we will be covering a little bit of everything for you internationally this week on the show. But of course, the jump season is now alive, fully so. Who are our guests this week? That's the question. A small matter of next Tuesday, a show coming back. That's right, the boys are back in town. Let's go over to Ireland. David Jennings, Irish Deputy Editor, and Gavin Lynch, our new columnist, joins us. The Upping The Ante boys.
Yes. Good morning from County Meath.
I always sort of say Dublin in Ireland. I never know quite where they are, Kills. But County Meath, ever been?
No idea. I haven't been to Ireland anywhere near as much as I should have been.
Okay, all right. Guys, we know, joined at the hip anyway. The two of you, Upping The Ante, back on Tuesday the 9th, right?
Yeah, we're back on Tuesday, Dave. Really looking forward to it. I suppose the Cheltenham chat has already started. Last weekend was the real start of the jump season. We had Down Royal, obviously, and we had the Charlie Hall at Wetherby. And we can't wait for Tuesday, can we, Gav? Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing all your tips there.
Well, quite right. Now, the first time we met Gavin Lynch, he came over to the studio, didn't he? I thought he was part of the staff over there in Ireland. You know, he's seamlessly walked in and that. He's now, of course, a columnist.
Yeah, no. He just wins loads of money, Gav, doesn't he? I don't know where they got him from, but he's obviously a very, very, very good judge. Not quite as good at table tennis as I am, though.
Yeah, wow, we remember that, Gav, don't we? Gav came over, Paul was playing table tennis, he licked us all at that. But you even rivaled Keels for getting on the front page last Saturday.
Yeah, it's actually quite a touchy subject, Dave, to be honest, because all the actual staff in the Racing Post had to take a pay cut to get Gavin in as a columnist.
You do sort of laugh. But let's get it out of the way. You tipped one up last week, didn't you, in a bumper that Gordon Elliott always wins. American Mike, is that right now? Favourite for the champion bumper after you successfully put him up?
Yeah, we took him up last week in the column at 16-1. I think he's around 7 or 8-1 now. I compared his time with the other 3 2-mile races last Saturday, and it compared quite well, so I think he's got a good chance. Yeah, he's a good horse.
Yeah, they'll be wrapping him up, what you imagine. Yeah, Cheltenham chat all the way. Okay, let's get into the show. Let's have a look at exactly what we've got coming up for you. A reminder then, it's Safe Gambling Week here at the Racing Post. Proud to be supporting that all the way. I'll be talking to a young man called Adam Wood who'll be sharing his insight into the problem gambling. We'll be looking all the big race previews for you after some hot topics and, of course, those all-important weekend naps. So, a reminder then, it is Safe Gambling Week, and here at the Racing Post, very proud to be supporting that. Of course, like every week, we want you to enjoy your betting without getting into any serious difficulties. If you need any help or you want to look at the gambling charities that are out there for support, do check out our website or the app Indeed. And as aforementioned, a young man named Adam Wood is now about to give us some real insights into the world that one can enter. So, of course, here at the Racing Post, we're very proud to be associated with Safer Gambling Week, and to give us some real insights into this, I'm delighted to say that Adam Wood joins us from his home up north. Now, if you don't know who Adam is, I'm assuming a lot of you do, being a Racing Post user or a 365 user, of course. Check out his bio on Twitter, Adam Wood. When the fun stops, I didn't. Adam, let's bring you in. Good morning. Delighted to have you on.
Good morning, mate. Thank you for having me on. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Adam. And I'm
Good.
thrilled to have you on, really, because really interesting insight we're going to get from you. It's fair to say, Adam, March 2020, your world came crashing down, didn't it?
It did indeed. That was first time when I opened up about my addiction to gambling.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Adam, we got up to about £40,000 worth of money that you ploughed in, and that's when, you know, all these payday loans and all that sort of thing, that's when the real red flags came to you. Low moment, I imagine, and a very brave decision, Adam, to have to pour it out. When did that happen?
So, yeah, that was March 2020. I was pretty much sat where I am now. it got to a point where it was, like 2 or 3 weeks of just crying myself to sleep. I was in a really dark place, and I never imagined I'd get to that place, especially something related to gambling. It took me to a place that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy, and I was, sat here contemplating what I'm going to do. I'd convinced myself that I'd never be able to stop. And what was even worse is I was so scared of getting some help because I knew that I'd eventually go back to it, and I didn't want to bring anyone else into this issue because this was my own doing. And I think it's kind of like a male thing in this generation, that it's my problem, I'm going to get it sorted on my own, which is, I guess, fine in some aspects of life, but when you look at addiction, it's just not the way to go.
So, Adam, what help did you get?
There's GambleAware out there who are brilliant. GambleAware helped me a lot, especially in the first 2 or 3 months. You can talk to them, whether it's via email, live chat, over the phone, and majority of the time as well, the person you're speaking to at the other end has been through what you're going through. I think that's a really powerful thing, being able to talk to someone that's, gone through what you're currently going through. It's that idea of relating and understanding. And I spoke to them back and forth. You can get some one-on-one support, which is always really helpful. But there's obviously like certain restrictions that you can put in place. There's a company out there called GamStop or GamBan. They both kind of do the same thing, which is you sign up to that completely free, and it self-excludes, it suspends all your online accounts, and obviously you're signing up with all your details. It will stop you then making accounts in the future with bookies and stuff, which is really good. Pretty sure as well that most UK online banks now do a debit card block for gambling, which is really helpful, obviously, because I know for me personally, a lot of my gambling was done online.
So, Adam, it's obviously been a long 18, 19 months, as you said. Your finances are back intact now. I'm delighted to report as well. I can imagine it's been a long old road, my friend. What triggers do you have now? What do you notice out there? Do you have any personal, sort of watches for yourself out there you can relate to our audience?
Yeah, so I mean, like I say, most of my gambling was done online, but at certain times I would go into my local bookies, which is just down in my little village, and every morning to get the train, I have to walk past that bookies. And it's the little things, really, like there's an ATM machine right opposite the bookies, and I would often stand there, draw out 250 quid and go in, lose that, and repeat that process time and time again. So if I'm drawing some money out, say for a night out over there, that all then triggers in my mind, because majority of the time when I'm drawing money out there, it was just to simply go and gamble it all. And, in the first few months, that sort of thing is tough, but I like to think in a position I'm in now, I can really look at where I've come over the past, like I say, 19 and 20 months, and I can be proud of myself that I've been able to overcome that and get the better of those triggers. But with the triggers, it can sometimes be quite spontaneous and quite out of the blue, and I think everyone has their own ways of coping and mechanisms to try and get the better of those things. For me personally, it's like physical exercise, so I'd go out for a run or something, and I'm not saying that that's bulletproof and that works every time, but it gave me, especially in lockdown, that opportunity to just kind of clear my head and see the bigger picture, because you've got to remember that the last 2 or 3 years when I was gambling compulsively, every single trigger or urge to gamble would get the better of me, and I had to, as weird as it sounds, kind of teach myself to go the other side and not give into it. And that's easier said than done sometimes, but it's the cliche saying that as time goes on, the more time you spend away from gambling, it does get easier, especially when you have good support around you.
Okay, that's great to hear, Adam, and thanks for sharing. Okay, let's end this, Adam, because a lot of people will still be surprised to know that you retain a real love for racing, don't you? So you've taken the betting out of it, and now you just see the sport as it is, and you're still involved in ownership yourself.
I am, yeah. With Millennium Racing Club, we've got a horse with Fergal O'Brien, which is going really well at the moment. But it's that sort of partnership, I guess, with Millennium, and just being able to appreciate the sport for what it is, and I really do think that's beautiful. And like I said, when I stopped, I knew that I'd potentially have to take it out of my life because it would be too much. But it was an absolute delight when I realised that I can watch it and I can enjoy it more than ever. And it's important to put out there that everyone's different, and just because I can do that doesn't mean everyone else can do that. I think there's a very important part of this process, something I've adapted from the word go, which is you've got to be honest with yourself. At the end of the day, it's only you and you only that knows what you're comfortable with, and I guess that can adapt to any form of life, whether it's addiction related or not. If you're in a position, you're doing something what you feel comfortable with, and other people don't agree with it, you know, as long as you're happy, then that's the main thing. But on the flip side, if I'm watching racing, for example, and I don't feel comfortable, and I am getting a lot of urges, I won't be afraid to walk away and, like I say, maybe go for a run and just clear my head. But that's all part of recovery. You know, there's going to be good times, there's going to be bad times, but it's important to step back into reality every now and then, and again, go back to being honest with yourself and what you're comfortable with. And I'm very fortunate to be in a position where I can enjoy racing, whether it's a Cheltenham Festival, Grand National, or just a Class 6 at Wolves on a Monday night. You know, just enjoy it for what it is, and that's really good.
Adam, thanks so much for sharing. I get the feeling that you wouldn't mind people hitting you up as well if ever they want to just reach out. They could do so to you via direct message on Twitter, etc.
Absolutely, yeah. Obviously, I'm in a position where I can't promise I'll be any help, but what I can definitely promise is I will take all the time in the world to have a chat if it helps get a few things off your chest and potentially get you on that road to recovery, which is such a great road.
It's great to have Adam on then. Adam, enjoy the rest of 2021. He's looking at you. You've got a young man with your life ahead of you. Thanks so much for coming on What a Shout.
Very kind, Dave. Thank you, mate.
Hot topic time then here on What a Shout this weekend. Let's get them up on screen. What have we got for you? Okay, let's play it safe. Yes, again, another reminder that it's Safe Gambling Week. See what the panel make of that. Give you some help out there, some experience from them. We'll look, of course, at the Anglo Irish clues. Something tells me that's going to be meaty this week if chosen. Of course, we've got failed races. Oh my goodness gracious me, small field sizes. Any anti-post tips out there from the lads? We'd love to hear them. And too much interference as well. Who's going to go first? Gavin Lynch, let's go to you. Safer Gambling Week. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I'd give two pieces of advice. One is that I think it's very important for every punter, and that's every punter, keep a diary or a spreadsheet to see how you're doing day to day, week to week, month to month. And in fact, a lot of the time you're doing a bit better maybe than you think, but it means that you're more disciplined. If you know your profit and loss and you're winning, say, a couple of £100 going into the last couple of days of November, it just means you might keep it. And secondly, I think it's very important to be specific with your punting. Like, I can name you the Manchester United team, the Liverpool team, the Chelsea team, the Man City team, but I don't bet on soccer, or football, as you call it. Soccer, we call it. But I don't bet on that because I just don't know enough about it. Like, I'm happy to chat down in the local pub about you know, Liverpool and Man United. I'll have an opinion, but I don't bet on it. I just bet on racing because I've just been doing it for a long time. So I think if people are specific, just bet on one or two things and leave it at that and keep a diary. There's the two things.
That's important because, of course, for anyone that doesn't really know who Gav is, of course, is what Gav does full time. Hang on a minute. We invented the beautiful game, and yet we're the only ones that call it football on the planet.
Yeah, I don't know why it's called. I don't know why it's called soccer at all. That's madness. He's got a point though. Keep it specific. I mean, we've got the Breeders' Cup. You know, I don't get involved in any podcasts on the Breeders' Cup. I don't know anything about American racing. I think you've got to, like our Tom Collins, spend an awful lot of time on it if you want to take it seriously and have a bet.
Yeah.
You know, so you know, I will watch some of it with interest. I don't like dirt racing anyway, but you know, I can't see myself getting involved in that sort of stuff. There's plenty of British racing for me to get stuck into.
You've long said, Kills, over the years that you know, you're a fair judge and like a terrible disciplined punter. Have you sort of measured that up a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, there's various ways you can be in discipline, isn't there? Chasing would be the worst when you get behind. You've got to try and keep a level head about it. I'm definitely a lot better than I was when I was a kid. I was terrible, like, you know what I mean. But I also treat it as fun. Like, you know, I know sometimes if I'm going racing, there's a big day out, I'm going to probably do a little bit. I'm probably going to get a bit more involved than I would normally do so.
OK then, up on the screen are the graphics again. DJ, I've got a feeling you're going to want to take this away. Anglo Irish clues.
Yeah, last weekend, Froden. Like, me and Gavin are proud Irishmen, but I think both of us were thrilled to see Froden win the Ladbrokes Champion Chase. Paul Nicholls, like, to do what Paul Nicholls did last Saturday takes some doing. To come on and take on a Gold Cup winner in his backyard and beat him with Froden. And to have him, we seen it a few years ago with Surname taking on Altior at Ascot. There's no better man to have one ready and cherry ripe first time out than Nicholls. Like, Froden was flying fit, and we saw that from the second last home. I think fitness really did play a part. We saw Delta work and Manila Indo probably from the second last home got a little bit tired. Froden was ready, and I think Paul knew that was his D-Day. That was him. As regards the biggest clue on the card, I'd probably say there was two with regard to Cheltenham. I thought Envoy LN, seeing him back, enjoying himself, slick, everything about him was like the old Envoy Allen that we saw in the early part of last season and the 2 seasons before. And my old buddy here, Gavin Lynch, tipped up American Mike for the champion bumper before he ran it down Royal. I met Gordon Elliott at Fairy House on Tuesday, and I said, "What about this American Mike, Gordon?" And he just, you want to see the smile on his face. I think, I'm only guessing, but I think they think the absolute world of this American Mike.
Yeah, look at Gav's face there. That was classic, wasn't he? He was like, I know he's a good one. I know he's a good one. Let's just stick with you quickly then. Gav, I want to come to you. You took part in our glorious big jump off that we did previewing the jump season. I heard you talking about Manella Indo, also in your column as well, said, listen, if he's beaten at down roll, I don't think that will harm his Gold Cup credentials. Still sticking with that?
Yeah. Normally when a horse wins at Cheltenham, they get slashed. This time, I think the Manella Indo has gone from like 4-1 to 5-1, and it's even a 6-1 at the place. I think that's very, very fair. His record at Cheltenham, he could be 3 from 3 only for a mistake at the last in what was the Festival Novice Chase, I think, that year. He looked
beaten by a good horse, though, Gavin. Beaten by a very good horse that day.
Yeah, well, don't worry about champ, but I think Manella Indo is definitely the right favourite, and he's got a massive chance. He is turning 9, which is a slight worry, but 9-year-olds have an okay record in the Gold Cup, so yeah, the right favourite.
It's all been very civilised so far here on the panel. DJ, let's come back to you quickly because you might want to lay one on Keels here. Also in the big jump off, Keels said, unlikely to have any Irish representation. Clanderzoba will go off 5-4, probably the bet of the season. Are we going to see the Gold Cup winner in the King George?
Yeah, actually, Henry had a press day yesterday, and he was very, very keen on Manella Indo for the King George. The one I'd love to see there is obviously Envoy LN. I personally think if Envoy LN goes there, and I think he could, I think he goes off favoured. I think it's simple as that. I can see where Keels is coming from. And in other years, you would say, Clanderzoba looks like he probably will be him, Frodon, and maybe one or two others. But it looks like there's going to be a much stronger Irish contingent this year. And even Willie Mullins is talking about the race as well, which he hasn't been doing for a while for one or two of his. So it could actually, Tom Siegel in the Weekender this week spoke about it, and he said he was the same as Keels, thinking it would be a penalty kick for Clanderzoba. But I think it's going to be a much stronger race this year. I just can't wait to see Envoy Allen if he goes over there.
All right, let's give you the floor then.
Well, I think what we've seen, I mean, we've got two Irish horses in the elite hurdle tomorrow. It's the first time an Irish raider has come over since 1996 for that race. And obviously what they did to us at Cheltenham, it sort of emboldened them. We've got Irish horses in a Temps qualifier at Aintree tomorrow. We've got a couple in the Sefton. It looks like we're going to, we might start taking a battering at different courses around Britain all season. So obviously Clanderzoba isn't going to go off at 5-4. What Clanderzoba is, though, is as good as any horse in training when he has his right conditions. And they're at Kempton.
And Nichols is absolutely on fire.
And he's going to go there first time, and like he did with Frodon, he's going to be absolutely bang right.
Fit for his life.
So for me, he's still the one to beat. I mean, a horse like Envoy Allen, for all the promise he's got in the world, he's still got to prove it. Manella Indo's now 1 from 6, I think, on a right-handed track. But big up to Frodon. 33rd chase start that was. Let's not forget, he's only 9, but he's been around forever.
And there's the Bryony link as well, isn't there? A lot's been said about Bryony recently, and it was a great story as well.
She was brilliant. I don't know how much media attention she's had over the years has fostered a bit of a resentment among certain people or not. But what she does is she gets horses jumping, and her and Frodon are absolutely made for each other.
All right, there's the Irish clues then. We'll not quite do the Envoy one yet. What did you make of Envoy Allen? I know there's fan clubs back, aren't they? Let us know your comments in below. Pat Cooney, let's bring you in. Let's have a mention about Wetherby. That was fireworks there as well, weren't there? Very much so, and you were present.
Yeah, absolutely. And I tell you, it's something that the biggest cheer of the entire day at Wetherby on Saturday was they showed the Frodon race on the giant screens. That got by far the biggest cheer. Seemed like everyone was riding a finish on Frodon coming up to the line. So he's such a popular horse. Bryony's such a popular rider as well. So it was a really terrific there, and it was great scenes afterwards. It was a little bit disappointing immediately after that because Surname from the same stable disappointed. Maybe he retires. But it was a memorable Charlie Hall for the wrong reasons, really. Chanbleur, 20 clear, maybe going to go 30 clear. And he came down at the 3 out. And that was a shame, but he'll have other days. And the race before the Stayers Hurdle, I thought Paisley Park ran okay. I think he comes out of the race as the best horse in the race at the weights. And I think maybe you'll find blinkers will be on him next time he runs, because he keeps hitting that flat spot. He's a year older. The flatter track at Wetherby wouldn't have suited him. He prefers going uphill. Maybe blinkers, Cheltenham. Maybe that could be the oracle. I wouldn't be giving up on Paisley Park just yet.
OK, let's get the graphics up. Final one, we'll whittle through this, guys. Failed races. Pat Cooney, small field sizes, rearing their ugly heads again.
Yeah, it's a popular debate, isn't the size of the fields? But, you know, I was looking at our figures for Saturday, and the highest turnover race we had last week out of all the races was our Charlie Hall Chase. Of course, there was, 7 runners in that. And the second highest was the Stayers race, one half an hour earlier. And that was an 8-runner race. So I think it can be a bit of a misnomer on occasions. I think so long as you get the big name horses turning up and the field sizes are okay, 7 and 8 is fine. We weren't expecting much more than that. You go to Down Royal, how many were we expecting in the Frodon race? Again, about 4 or 5. But give us some top name horses and the turnover holds up pretty well. But it is a concern, but we're now in November. Hopefully we'll get more autumnally type ground when there'll be more rain, more runners and so forth. So it's something to be aware of, but the turnover holds up well. So long as the stars come out and run, I think that's the main thing.
All right, Kills, quick word on this. Matt Butler, it was his comment in the Post this week. He called it the plague on the sport. And, that excellent beginner's chase roll call of honour at Newbury, which we saw on Thursday, reduced to a match. Yes, there were 2 runs.
I mean, that's routinely a small field race. I mean, it was supposed to have changed because, the handicap is not allowed to hit horses for getting so close to them. But I mean, they're not going to want to take on the really, really good horses that early. And you're going to have some small fields everywhere. There are too many of them. There's not enough horses to go round. I think that's as simple as possible. We've got too much racing. The potential good thing about the good conditions races this year is we might see some more Irish to bolster it a bit. I mean, the elite hurdle, even when it was a handicap, it was, invariably a small field. And, we've got 7 tomorrow instead of what would have been 5 and only 2 chances. And we've got 2 interesting horses. And I think, it'd be interesting to see what happens in the fight and fifth coming up because, it does make sense, at least for the second tier hurdlers in Ireland, to come and have a crack at what passes for champion hurdle aspirants in Britain. That's what we're seeing tomorrow.
150 then. Let's get into these big race previews on the weekend for you. Can't wait for this. It is the Rising Stars, Kills, Novice Chase, Grade 2. Nichols has won 5 of the last 10 with some proper worldies as well. Brave Man's Game, going to go off a warm order.
I'm going to go off a warm order if he runs. I mean, let's face it, we know that the ground's been pretty quick. We've been told they've been watering. They haven't actually come out and said how much they've put on. So it all depends. I'd imagine they'll be walking it. And, Nichols says, he likes genuine good ground, etc. But he's also got Mick Pastor in the race, who would be a serious player for him without Brave Man's Game being in there. I mean, Brave Man's Game was brilliant at Newton Abbot. He absolutely toyed with horses with Grade 1 form. I know they were giving him plenty of weight, but he looked like he'd been jumping all his life. I mean, if he runs, they think it's safe, then it'd be disappointing if he's beaten.
Yeah.
Where he's going to end up against the likes of Bob Ollinger later in the season, we don't know, because obviously there were some monsters in Ireland last year. But we have to remember that that's not always the case that the best hurdler turns into the best chaser, and we know that this lad can really jump. So, I hope that we see him become a top-class chaser. But obviously, after one run, he's still got enough to prove.
Keel's putting the cat amongst the pigeons a little bit there, Pat. If he doesn't run, it's wide open, right? But this is going to be the one for the Accas, I imagine?
Yeah, this will be in every bet, and rightly so, really. You look at, what did he achieve at Newton Abbot on his chase debut? Well, he beat Fusil Raffles, who won the Charlie Hall. Yes, however fortuitous that was. But Fusil Raffles, he gave him 12, and he got beat 5.5. I might have been inclined to think Brave Man's Game would have beaten him at level. So my one hope with the horse is that he's as good as connections think. There were comparisons to the mighty Denman from Paul Nichols after his reappearance. That's a big statement to make, but he looks the part. Everything's there, isn't it? And I suppose he'll go wherever Bob Ollinger doesn't go, maybe going forward. But I'd like to see him run and win on Saturday. Some good horses have won this race, and he's right up there on the top table with them. So I expect to win. If he doesn't turn up, the race lacks a lot of luster. Maybe Mick Pastor will be the one to take advantage. But I hope he runs. I hope he wins. And we do need, I know the guys over in Ireland might think otherwise, we do need this rivalry, and he looks like being the top player.
Well, DJ, this is one of your naps at the festival, wasn't it? Brave Man's Game. We all know what happened there. And again, want another advert. This isn't all about Cheltenham. Can you imagine it'll be the Corto Star at Cheltenham? The 3 mile Grade 1, the old Feltham or whatever he called it. Is it interesting that he's keeping him at 2 mile 4 at the minute? This tends to go to a Marsh horse these days.
Yeah, he thinks he has loads of pace. Look, I fancied him at Cheltenham in the Ballymore, and I thought he was an exceptional novice last season. I thought everything went perfectly to script for him in the race. And when Bob Olinger came on his outside, I couldn't believe how easily he went by. Like, I couldn't. I honestly was watching the race in disbelief. I really was. I said, he's jumped brilliantly. He's travelled. He's galloped. Everything has gone absolutely perfect. And this is a brilliant, brilliant novice. And he was made look so slow by Bob Olinger. And there was no excuses. He ran his race. Look, I still think he's going to make a cracking chaser. I think he'll win this if he runs. And I think he probably will win the Cotto Star at Kempton over Christmas. I know Gavin is not as big a fan as I am. But, like, Nichols is not an idiot. Like, he thinks he's exceptional. He's not an idiot. Like,
as what's his name?
Paul Nichols.
Yeah, no. Damon Dumpy would say he's a good horse. He's not a great horse.
He's more than a good horse.
He's a good horse. He was beaten 12 lengths at Cheltenham. He was beaten 7 lengths at Aintree. That doesn't scream like he's the next big thing.
He was over the top at Aintree.
Fair enough, but he was still well beat at Cheltenham. He jumps brilliant. To me, he doesn't quicken, so he has to be up at the pace. Go a little might be up there as well, but like he's ranging in price for what we used to call the RSA. It's now the Brown Advisory Novice Chase. I think he's from 6-1 to 14-1. If you're getting 14-1 or 12-1, he's probably worth a saver, but he's no 6-1 shot now.
Jeez, I tell you what, I didn't think... Listen, Gav, I'll tell you what, the funny thing was, we're giggling here in the studio because it's going to be a long up in the ante season, isn't it? Listening to DJ keep going on about Brave Man's Game. You got that there was the little nod. I don't know, is this one of these... The comparisons with Denman are there for Nichols, right?
Yeah, I mean, he might have got carried away because he might have won a very weak shallow hurdle. I mean, we don't know. Like, you know, Denman got beaten in the Ballymore as well, remember? I mean, he wasn't beaten as far. So, you know, it all depends. But we know how good Nichols is with staying chasers. With chasers in general, anyway. I mean, look how many Tingle Creeks and King Georges he's won in his time. So, you know, he knows what he's dealing with. And like I said, the horse's jumping was sensational. And if he jumps like that throughout his career, he's going to rate a hell of a lot higher than he did over hurdles. Whether that is good enough for a horse like Bob Olinger, because it's funny, because given the Irish gave us such a bashing last year, Dave was all over Brave Man's Game, I was all over Bob Olinger last year. Like, you know what I mean? And I'm looking forward to seeing him. But, you know, the most eye-catching performance of a novice chaser this season so far has been by Brave Man's Game, without a shadow of a doubt.
What a great conversational piece that was. It's the Rising Stars. Let's hope he turns up, because we believe, maybe not Gavin Lynch, that he's a genuine one. 2:15, let's go up to Aintree, shall we? The first time in nearly 2 seasons that a full crowd has watched anything jump those national fences. It is the Grand Sefton. Pat Cooney, let's come to you with this. It's moved from its traditional slot to give it a Saturday feature. Is it a fitting field? Wide open, I'm imagining the betting.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the key thing to say is this is 2 miles 5. And we have a favourite as things stand at the moment, Time to Get Up. And the last time we saw this fella, he was winning the Midlands Grand National over nearly 4 miles. So he's dropping down a considerable weigh-in trip. But I like the idea of it. I think he's around about 20-1 second favourite for the Aintree Grand National. So why not start him off there, get him over the fences? He's very inexperienced over fences, this fella. I think he's only just had the 4 runs. So it's an ideal opportunity to start him off. He's favourite as we speak at the moment. Market rival, well, Cat Tiger has been popular with Mr. Dave Maxwell, who gets a good tune out of this fella. And of course, he jumped over these fences in the Fox Hunters at the national meeting last year. He's been popular each way. I could add in Hogan's Height, who won the race 2 years ago. Paige Fuller aboard, so that's got some sort of a chance. There's been Money Senior Citizen and so forth. I quite like 5-Star Getaway. The excellent Christian Williams trains it. He's right down there off 10 stone 10. He got beat quite a way on his prep run, but Christian Williams, master trainer. I'm sure this horse will be ready to roll on Saturday, and he appeals to me. But this is a wide open race. How Time to Get Up gets on over this shorter trip remains to be seen. But I quite like the 5-Star Getaway. This is a race, Kills, that you'll be absolutely getting your teeth stuck into. Is it interesting that the favourite is running over the 2 mile 5 rather than the Beecher? Is this a sighter for Aintree? I
mean, it looks like it looks like a sighter. It might be a sighter for the Beecher. He needed every yard at Uttoxeter, didn't he? I mean, that was a good race. Mighty Thunder obviously won the Scottish National afterwards. It was, you know, but he did need absolutely every yard of it, you know. And you're dropping down, like, you know, almost a mile and a half in trip, like, you know what I mean? So, you know, He's obviously a young horse with plenty of progression in him, so it wouldn't surprise you if he won it. But I can't say I'd be in a rush to take 4-1, which is roughly what he is at the moment. I'm not sure that Hunter Chase form that Cat Tiger ran him was all that good. He has dropped a fair bit in the weight since he went chasing, in just 3 runs in Hunter Chases. So you can give him his chance. I was looking up, but there's a few course specialists in the race. I backed Sir Jack Yates in the week. I just think he's going to run his race and finish in the first 4.
Yeah, he loves it, Ed, and he's one of my horses, Sir Jack Yates.
Well, I'm convinced he can win.
You're mentioning the Fav, and you're mentioning him. A lack of a prep run in this has been it's been difficult to overcome in the past. Yeah,
that's a little bit of a worry, and therefore I ended up coming down on the side of Irish Raider, Spyglass Hill, who ran 5th in the Munster National at Cork last time, led him a merry dance for a long way, jumping fairly boldly much of the time. Hugh Morgan has ridden him both times this season, so he's had 2 runs. Mm-hmm. And obviously he got run out of things. Got beat 21 lengths in the end. I think but I think he ran well. I think he's primed for it. And obviously Hugh Morgan's come over the ride, taking £3 off. I think he'll definitely be on the premises.
Yeah, okay. I had a look at Senior Citizen. Hogan's Height, who Pat mentioned, only a little bit lower. Sorry, let me do that again. I had a look at Hogan's Height, who Pat mentioned, of course, a little bit higher than when he won it 2 years ago. But it's a bit of a mixed bag with him. I know he's prepped over hurdles last time. I came down on Senior Citizen. He jumped really well when he won at Market Raisin last time. Alan King, they believe he's a national fence horse. He'll do for me. Let's go to the guys in Ireland. Grand Sefton time.
Time to get up is the lay of the day. Can't win. I'll play Slam first 3, first 4, first 5. Why? He needs 3.5 miles minimum. You saw it in Toxeter, you saw it before. Can't have him on my mind. I think he'll go off a lot bigger. Spyglass Hill, a good chance. Senior Citizen, good chance. And also Sir Jack Yates, as you said. The 2 of them, of course, experienced. Sir Jack Yates was 2nd in the race last year. So, but yeah, I'd be against the favourite big time.
Just a word on Spyglass Hill. Gavin and Keynes have given him a good mention. I did Henry de Romain's stable tour a few weeks ago, and this is his aim. I said, what's his aim? He said the Sefton at Aintree. This is the main aim for quite a while. So he's obviously been targeted, and I'd say the trip is perfect for him. But another horse I think the trip will suit as well. It's the other Irish horse I think could go well. It's the West Away for Eddie O'Grady and Philip Enright. Now this horse is not well handicapped, but he's been running some big races in some big handicaps, and he will run his race. I think it's the type of test that he'll love. It's bizarre to think that this horse actually finished 14th in the Galway Plate, because he actually led over the second last almost. Coming into the 2 fence in the dip in the Galway Plate, he was loving it, and he just got very tired. He didn't quite see out the kind of almost 2 mile 7 there. I think this trip and this track is going to suit the West Awake, and I could see him running well for Eddie O'Grady and Philip Enright.
Great stuff. All right then. We know what happened last time we saw a race over the national fences. The Irish dominated. Will it be happening again? They got 2 coming over. Isn't it magnificent to see the Magnia colours over the national fences? 240. Not over yet, is it? The flat season, of course, we've got Breeders' Cup to come, but it's the end of the turf season on the Town Moor at Doncaster. It is the November Handicap. Pat Cooney, where are we going?
Well, I don't know. It's a real head scratcher, isn't it? You tend to look at this race every year and think, I have no idea we could get a big price winner. But the last 7 winners have all been 10-1 or under. So the market usually gets near enough. This is 7-1 the field. In fairness, we haven't been that busy anti-post, so I can't give you much of a steer on it at the moment. I'm just looking at horses that have got some sort of form book chance. I thought Farhan was interesting right at the bottom. John Butler, very shrewd trainer. Holly Doyle booked. That's an interesting runner, because that was 2nd in a real good race that we sponsored at Newmarket. So that's an interesting runner. You probably need 2 or 3 bites of the cherry here. I'm going to go in the end for Rhythmic Intent, number 8, of Stuart Williams. 2nd in the race last year and just a couple of pound higher. And when this fella won at Doncaster a couple of months ago, Stuart Williams said, I suppose we'll be coming back for the November Handicap. And here we are. That's what he's here for. He goes on soft. You have to be lenient with his last run, which was moderate, but that's wrapped around in the 14-1 price quote. 7 the field. I wouldn't be afraid to have 2 or 3 cracks at this one. Impossible race, but I'll go with Rhythmic Intent. If it's good enough for Stuart Williams to nominate him a couple of months ago, that'll do for me.
Bookmaker telling us it's an impossible race. Some help kills. This is a big trends race for the trends followers out there. Lots of 10 out of 10s. Check out Kevin Morley's excellent Kevin Morley's column in your members section if you need some help with that. You can knock out some of the leading fancies. You know, I came down with Flying Solo for David Menezes, SDS. I think there's a big one in him. The 4-year-old. You?
Yeah, a couple. I mean, Sam Cooke went off joint favourite last year at 7-2, and beaten out of sight.
Is he coming good now, Kate?
Yeah,
Sam Cooke? He's a nutter,
that
isn't
seems to the start of him going wrong and being a bit of a loon, but he seems to have come back on it, and his last 2 runs have been as good as they've ever been. I mean, every bit as good as his run prior to this race last year, and he's only a pound higher, so potentially, if he keeps going the right way this time, then he's got a good shout. I've become more interested, the final pieces of the jigsaw, as it were, when you see the decks. Global Storm has cheek pieces on, and Adam Farraher claiming 5. Now, he hasn't run for 2 months. He's obviously got some rock solid form for Charlie Appleby. Has a near 30% strike rate with first time cheek pieces, which is really, really good. Hasn't run for 2 months. He's won on heavy ground at Newmarket. He's won on soft. He goes on anything. He stays really well, especially at 1.5 miles. And I think he just might go very well from the top of the weights.
Yeah, drying all the time out here, of course. Domestically, it's going to be tacky old ground. DJ, not sure about Gavin, but you're bound to fancy one of these.
There's one that interests me here, and he's completely lost the plot, but he's 33-1, and I think he's worth a very small wager. Deja for Philip Chapelheim and PJ McDonald. Now, he has completely lost the plot, but you've got to remember, right, this horse started the season rated 112, okay? He's ran 4 times this season, so he's only ran 4 times, and he's now down to a mark of 101. We know he likes soft ground. Now, there is a chance that he's just completely gone at the game. That's the chance you're taking, but you're getting 33-1. He won the Old Newton Cup last year. He was second in the Duke of Edinburgh at Royal Ascot. He is a far better horse than a mark of 101 suggests when he's on his game. Now, the big question is whether he'll be on his game or not. But he's been off since the second last week of August. I'd imagine Chapelheim has had this race in mind since then. Give him a break, freshen him up, back on soft ground, and he's got blinkers on for the first time. He's 33-1. I just think if Peter Chapelheim gets him anyways back, he's worth a small wager.
Gav, are you struggling to keep a straight face again?
No, I just have to. Right,
think he's 33-1, right?
No,
he's 33-1, right? I'm not saying he's not a certainty, like.
I've no opinion in this race. This race is for the needy and the greedy. No, I was just thinking of Del Boy or Rodney when he said, "It's deja vu all over again."
We even got an Only Fools and Horse reference in there. So listen, that was fantastic. All right, listen, it's the November handicap. Impossible, says Pat Cooney. What do you like? Get your selections in below. 3 o'clock. It's Badger Beer time at Wincanton. Yep, let's go to the West Country track. Pat, we have seen some very well-established staying handicap chasers take this in the past. Who will take the 2021 renewal of the booze race?
Well, again, it's another fascinating handicap, wide open. What I can say, if you follow the money horse since the final decks came out has been number 11, Captain Ord. Christian Williams, Jack Tudor aboard. Ropey-looking form figures, I have to say. 5P550, which wouldn't thrill too many people. But this is a dangerously well handicapped horse, and the money has come, so that suggests all is in place for a mighty run. That's round about second favourite as we speak. Highland Hunter is favourite at the moment. Of course he would be, because he's trained by Paul Nicholls, and Paul has a good record in this race. I'm not overly convinced about his claims. I think it's a lot more deeper race than that. My eye is drawn to Irish Prophecy, trained by Emma Laval, good friend of the show. And this fella's won at Wincanton on good ground last time out. Bit mixed form maybe, but it was an impressive enough win. Up £7. Again, you'd rather not, but you're up 7. But he did win before. To me, he's as good as anything. But big circle around Captain Ord's name.
Yeah, Captain Ord, he's got that one piece of form at Kempton with Royal Pagaille, hasn't he, where everyone's like, that was the one where they expect him to go and win the Sky Bet and things like that. He didn't quite turn it off. Does he stay well enough, Captain Ord? That would be my question. Of course, he had Kitty's Light, was a remarkable third in the race last year.
Yeah, I think he probably stays well enough. You got to see, can't say he didn't stay when he was second to Royal Pagaille. Although Royal Pagaille toyed with him really. I think good ground might suit him. I prefer something else at the head of the market. I thought Hurricane Harvey. I thought he ran a really nice race.
First agreement of the day.
I thought he ran a really nice race on his return. He held up way off the pace in the race, dominated by the front runners, and he got close to them 4 out and then just dropped away again. That was 2 mile, 3.5 furlong. Not really his trip. It's if his jumping stands up, because he can be a little bit scratchy, and you know what it's like at Wincanton. They'll go hard, So he can't afford to miss a beat.
That fourth last fence, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he can't afford to miss a beat. But I think ability-wise, I mean, he's dropped a fair few pound on the handicap since he started going over fences. And he's not, he hasn't run that badly. And yeah, I thought it was very much a step in the right direction. I mean, obviously Paul Nicholls has won the race 10 times, but I mean, Highland Hunter is a soft ground stayer, isn't he?
Yeah, I was tempted by him, but he's let me down a few times. It's one of these project things I've got to get my head off him.
Last 10 winners, 6 of them were first time out, but 5 of those were trained by Paul Nicholls. It seems to be harder for other trainers to do it first time out. So I like the fact that Hurricane Harvey has had a run for Fergal O'Brien.
He's a Wincanton winner over hurdles, Grade 2 winner over hurdles as well. Kills is absolutely right. It's all in his head, this horse, they think, the Fergal O'Brien. So if he gets his jumping together, he can take it out second time off a wind up. What do the boys in Ireland think?
I'm with Pat Cooney here. I like Irish Prophecy. I was going to say he actually ran really well for a long way I was going to say the old Whitbread, but then I was like, hold on a second. In the Bet365 Gold Cup, might I add.
Excuse you.
It's funny, he was pulled up in that, and I remember watching the race, and for maybe 2/3 of it, I thought he was travelling like the best horse in the race. He really got into it over the railway fence, and then he got very tired. I thought he looked a reform character at Wincanton last time. He's got up £7 for that, but he absolutely bolted up, I thought. I think Wincanton suits him. I think his previous win to that was at Taunton. I think he might be a little bit better going right-handed. And I even think off 144, he could have about £4 or £5 in hand. Whether that's enough to beat one of them Nichols horses that's unexposed, I don't know. But Irish Prophecy and double figure price for me. What about you, Gav?
I'm still getting used to the fact that it's not called the Badger Ales anymore. But anyway,
Badger beer.
Badger
What's
beer,
the difference between a beer and an ale?
No idea. Don't drink either.
It's all about diversity, boys. It's all about diversity. You can't discriminate in the beer world right now.
Paul Nicholls has won this. He loves Wincanton. He's won this 3 of the last 4 years. So I will go with Highland Hunter after a break. I'm sure when the horses come back in after the summer, Paul had 6 or 8 horses in mind for this race. So he's gone with this one with Harry. So that'll do. Good
luck to you then whenever you're playing in the 3 o'clock. Let's hope you're saying cheers as soon as the winner comes home. 3:35, final of our big race previews this weekend here on What a Shout. It is the Elite Hurdle. Kills mentioned at the top of the show, used to be a handicap. We've got 2 Irish raiders coming over, so let's go to the boys in County Meath then. And Dave, he's coming back out to play. It's Goshen.
Yeah, Goshen. God, where do you start with Goshen? My God. Do you know what? I actually think he'll probably win. Do you know that? I think Wincanton, when I look back at him last year, and we all thought he was gone at the game, completely gone at the game. And then he comes out in the Kingwell. And I know so many horses underperformed in that. Song for Someone was very disappointing. But he absolutely obliterated them. And I just think this race, this time of year, he could catch horses out. And if he gets into a rhythm early, it's hard to believe. He's rated a pound below So Royal. And you think So Royal has achieved a hell of a lot more than Goshen has. So maybe Goshen is rated on reputation a little bit more than substance, but I just think this could be his day. I think Goshen at 9-4, Bet365. I think it's more value than back in So Royal at 5-4. I don't fancy either of the Irish horses.
Gav?
I'd love to meet Goshen as a human.
Yeah, he'd be great.
I think
great crack, wouldn't you?
I tell you
wouldn't know where you'd end up on the night out.
If I was in college and he was in college, we'd be best pals. I'd say he'd just be a lunatic, wouldn't he?
Mad, yeah. He'd be jumping on tables and everything. Yeah.
He'd be a drummer in a rock and roll band. There's going to be good pace in the race to Canny and Goshen and so on. He's better right-handed, as we all know. He's a bit mad. Would I back him? No. But if I had to pick one, I'd say Goshen.
Oh, OK, 2 ticks for Oh My Goshen. Keels, I've got to say, chaps, Keels might have found one here. He's talked me into it. We've got So Royal. Well,
I mean,
brilliant So Royal.
I mean, if you don't love So Royal, there's something wrong with it, don't you? He's such a cracking little horse, isn't he? Fences, hurdles, whatever. He may have gone close in the Champion Chase last year if he hadn't been nearly put through the rail after 3 hours. I watched it again a couple of times last night. Actually, I don't actually think he would have won, but he would have definitely been a lot closer. And he's come out and he's murdered Silver Streak at Kempton, so he's fit. We know he likes good ground. We know he likes this place because he's won the race twice. He's, for me, he's the one to beat. I don't know what Goshen's going to turn up on the ground. Gary Moore says he wants to run him. And again, like I said, we haven't been told how much water has been put on. We know that the going stick on Wednesday suggested it was pretty quick. So whether they decide to run him or not, I mean, he did win a good ground race at Brighton of all places, didn't he? So I mean, it's not like he can't handle it, but we know what he can do on heavy ground because it was a bog and he tore him apart last year in the Kingwell. So for me, he's got to prove it on good ground. So is there a danger to So Royal? I think So Royal will probably win, but out of the 2 Irish, I'd prefer Soul Pretender.
Yeah.
He just goes very, very well fresh, likes decent ground. And, you know, he's got a best RPR. There's only a few pounds behind So Royals over hurdles. He's getting a couple of pounds. I think he'll run well. I think if there's one to upset the apple cart, it might be him. I certainly think he's got a better chance than Belfast Banter, who's shorter in the betting, would only have been placed at best.
I wanted to tip him, you know, and then I looked back at that Listowel race, and he's definitely coming to the end of his tether, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He is for me. He would have been placed at best in that race. So I can see Soul Pretender running well and getting close. But So Well will probably win. I might have a little forecast.
It's not easy to carry the maximum penalty in this, according to the stats. Pat Cooney, let's bring you in then. If Goshen comes out, we might even be looking at a without market with So Well at the top, right?
Yeah, obviously, and with Goshen, of course, what I would say, the stable are absolutely flying along at the moment. So you got no worries about the Gary Moore stable being out of form. They're really doing well. Goshen, you just don't know, do you? One thing I do know is best form is with giving the ground. This is good ground. Maybe that will be against him. I think the safest play, though, isn't it, is So Royal. Amazingly won this race in 2016 as well as last year. So you know what you're going to get with him. He's the safest play. Is he value at 5-4 or whatever? You can't say that with Goshen in the race, can you? Because you just don't know what's going to happen. Going to be an interesting race. Stakes to a minimum, this one. But So Royal, the safer option for sure.
Whatever race you're watching on the planet this weekend, we expect the 335. It's elite. The betting market is going to be fascinating. Well, it's a special weekend, as we know, and those stateside fans, you will be loving the fact it's the surf, it meets the turf, it's at Old Del Mar. Pat Cooney, we're going to look at the two races on the Saturday card that traditionally are the strongest for the Europeans. The mile, Space Blues, Fab with you, and the turf race. I think Aidan O'Brien runner is going to be coming in for a lot of love there, but let's stick at the mile, Pat. Where are you betting?
Well, the money horse has definitely been Space Blues of Charlie Appleby, William Buick, favourably drawn in trap 3. That's fine. But you do look at Space Blues, don't you? Arguably the best 7 furlong horse in the whole wide world. He certainly looked that way at Longchamp Arc weekend, and that was on soft ground. Now, 7 furlongs, heavy ground, Arc Day, looked invincible. So where do we go next? We go over a mile on firm ground, round the track Del Mar, which is a bit like Chester. So he's a popular horse. He's got plenty of speed, so I'm sure he'll be handy. He has been very well backed, but I don't know. Can he do it? Can he really go a mile on firm ground and be as good? Not sure. Good American horse, Mo Forza in the race. My eye is drawn to Mother Earth, who I thought was a desperately unlucky loser at Ascot on Champions Day. Yes, she's been around forever. She's had a load of races. But this is Aidan O'Brien. You know, his fillies and mares, they run all day, don't they? So I think Mother Earth is a degree of value in this race against Space Blues.
Just give us the market in the turf race as well, Pat, will you?
The turf race, at the moment, Town Noir of Dermot World is favourite in the race. The second favourite, Domestic Spending, the local horse, is a non-runner. So Tarnower, a horse drawn 13, not ideal, but certainly got the form in the book, has been well supported. Stall 13, a concern. It would be at Chester, so it would certainly have to be the case here at Del Mar.
Huge American racing fan is Pat Cooney. What about you, DJ Gav? Have you had a good look at these? Tarnower versus Love.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm a huge American racing fan, but if you can't have an interest in the Breeders' Cup, there's something wrong. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm a massive fan of Space Blues. I think if I was to write down I'll go 10. My 10 favourite flat horses.
Brave man's game.
No, flat horses.
You'd still put him in.
I would have. No, I wouldn't. He'd be number 11. I would have Space Blues in there. I think he is an absolute diamond. He's a dinger. I'm not worried.
Badly drawn.
I'm not worried. I know he's badly drawn, but give me a minute.
Sorry.
I am not one bit worried about ground for Space Blues. He won on good to firm ground as a 3-year-old, over 7, obviously. But I just think he's got that instant acceleration that you need at Del Mar. I think he's got it. I think a mile there is going to be perfect. If he can get, a nice position early. I'm not saying he's going to be held up way out the back, but if he gets into a nice position early, I have no doubt he's the best turn of foot in this race. And I actually think he should be a little bit shorter than he is. I know there's a lot of unknown quantities in the race, but third favourite is Mother Earth, fourth favourite is Master of the Seas, and then you've got Pearls Galore in there and Real Appeal if Real Appeal gets in as a reserve. I actually think Space Blues should be shorter. I think he's the best bet on the card.
Tanawa versus Tiona, I should have said, of course. Yeah, you can. Go on then. Listen, you come in every year, you say to me, it's a Breeders' Cup again.
I only say a reminder that it's safer gambling week, so you can safely ignore anything I say about American racing. It's probably the wisest thing. But I mean, if Space Blues sees out a mile, if he's going to see out a mile, he'll see it out here, won't he? But it is, it's a dog track. He's got stall 3, so he's okay.
Did you say it's a dog track?
Of course it is. Yeah, my standard tweet around Breeders' Cup time after the first race, fast away Wales always led.
It tends to work out as well, doesn't it?
That's your dirt track racing, which I obviously hate. But no, it's a good race. Now, Marshall of the Seas was so keen at Ascot. He was never ever going to stay on soft.
He let you down that day, didn't he?
It was just a bad letdown. He's ridiculously free. He's got trap 1. Perfect draw. I couldn't have Mother Earth trap 9. It's just one of those tracks you want a low draw. He's a player. I looked at there's 2 American horses, Mo Forza and Smooth Like Straight.
Mo Forza is well fancied.
Mo Forza's just beaten Smooth Like Straight the last 2 times, but he was drawn on the inside each time of that one, and it's the other way round this time. So I thought at double the price, I'd look at Smooth Like Straight.
And I mentioned that Aidan O'Brien's got a strong representation, maybe not as rock solid as recent years, but there's a lot of love in the filly and mares.
She's got. It's not a very strong race, is it? She's got a perfect draw, again an inside draw, to go out and make the running. I think she'll take a lot of beating on fast ground. Yeah.
Loads of work goes into the Breeders' Cup here at the Racing Post, no more so, I dare say, than our spotlight Supremo, Ron Wood, who does all the spotlights himself. Let me tell you, phenomenal amount of work that has gone in. Ron has been kind enough to give us 4 solid spots for you. Let's get them up on screen then. Okay, so you've got to stay up late for this one. The first one, just about the nap on the Friday, although it's Saturday in the 12:30. The Juvenile Turf, Modern Games, one for Charlie Appleby, great record in that. Charmaine's Mere in the Turf Sprint, one particularly strong on this one as well. Mo Forza, we mentioned him in the mile, and just about the nap on the whole card in the Classic is Hot Rod Charlie. Thanks to Ron for those. Get involved. All-important weekend winner time. It's going to be a nice 4-timer here, isn't it? Should we go to the Boys in Ireland then? Give us the best one of the weekend, selection-wise, guys.
Go ahead, Gav.
Okay. And down the outside, it's Tarnarwa.
You're not napping Tarnarwa.
Okay, I won't.
Are you going to nap Tarnarwa?
No. I'll give you 2. I'll give you 2 in Naas. Mr. Incredible, but he'd be a sharp price in the beginning of his chase. And an each way price, hopefully 4 or 5
go with
to 1.
times. Go with times. 340.
Oh, sorry, 340 in Naas. Yeah.
340 Naas. Yeah. Mr. Incredible.
Mr. Incredible. But also in the 305, a horse called Wawa, which is, I think, baby talk for water. There you go.
Wawa.
4 or 5 to 1 shot. Change stables, has to go left-handed. Was impressive enough in Killarney. It's off 1-1-6, and I think it's a very competitive race, but Wawa each way.
DJ.
Wawa each way. Okay, in the 1250, it's the Fishery Lane Hurdle. This is always a really good race. Jeff Kidder, Fred Winter winner against Calixios, who is the Triumph Hurdle winner, and I don't think either of them will win it. My banker of the weekend is T. Hupu for Gordon Elliott and Jack Kennedy. This horse was 4-7 to beat Jeff Kidder at Fairyhouse, and I just thought the ground was too quick that day. It was officially yielding, but it was quite quick, and I think softer ground hopefully at Naas, even though it is drying out. It's a nice day here. I think this is going to develop into a smashing horse. I think in years to come, I think T-Hupu is going to be very good, works really well, and I just think this is the time to catch him. So T-Hupu around about 3-1 in the 1250 at Naas.
So between the two of us, it's Water and T.
Water and T, Wawa and T-Hupu, yeah.
Done.
I thought Gav was going to say Wawa's baby talk for Brave Man's Game, but he didn't. Keels, it's a 5-timer this week then for people out there. What is the banker of the weekend?
Well, I mean, if you want an each-way multiple, Tom Frey has to go in it in the 125 at Doncaster. You can get extra places. He's 5-1. He's £3 lower at the start of the season when he was second in 2 rock-solid handicaps in the mud. He won the race last year. He's only £1 higher. He's 2 from 2 at the track. He's just come off his best run since May at Leicester. He can't finish out the frame, can he?
It was 50-1 you were going to tip on the flat with one of your naps.
Yeah, I know. It's just one of those. He's just got absolutely everything going for him. He just will be in the first 4 or 5. You can get extra places out there. 5-1, money back if he doesn't win, basically. So why not?
Okay, I'll put you up on Senior Citizen in the Grand Sefton at Aintree. I think it's tailor-made for him. Pat Cooney, complete the set.
Yes, I'm going to go to Doncaster for the 12.55, an 18-runner fillies listed race. Not normally my cup of tea, this, but number 18's the girl, Via Sistina. Joe Chewett trained this, absolutely trotted up in the handicap at Newmarket last time out, won by 4 lengths, a long-looking 4 lengths. It's now gone up £8 for that. Hasn't got that much to find. What about the ground? Well, it was good that day. She's won on soft ground before. Jamie Spencer, she won with a ton in hand. You can just imagine him, can't you? Just sitting there, letting her go with a furlong to go. Via Sistina, number 18.
There are your weekend winners. Well, sadly, that's all we've got time for then on this week's What a Shout. Great to have Gavin DJing. Upping the Ante returns next week. Life is good, boys. Be nice to think we might get some studio presents over here from you as well this winter.
Yeah, we'll make it over, won't we?
I'd say so, yeah.
We'll make it over, yeah. We'll just get to Dublin first. That's as far as we're going. We haven't been away in a while, have you?
No, I was in Scotland there a few weeks ago. Yeah.
We'll try and make it over soon, Dave.
Thanks,
Get the table tennis bat ready, Keels.
Yeah, you know it,
always
absolutely.
is.
We'll have a little bit of lunch. We'll get Pat Cooney down for it. Maybe we'll take the film cameras for there as well. Great to having the Uppy Ante boys with us as well. Great to have you back, Keels, as well.
Yeah, enjoyed it. Yeah, looking forward to the weekend. Not doing much. Everybody's out. I'll stay in, sit on the sofa with the dog and maybe a couple of tinnies. And there's 19 races on ITV4 tomorrow. Just got to work out what to do between 3:40 and 7:40. Sleep.
Well, there we go, absolutely. A reminder, of course, it is Safe Gambling Week, so take your time. Please gamble responsibly out there. Pat Cooney, great to have you back. You'll be down in the studio next week, Pat.
Yeah, all being well, I'll be down there in the studio and I'll be on the couch watching Del Mar tomorrow, my favourite night of the year. So popcorn at the ready for all these Breeders' Cup races. Cannot wait.
Cannot wait. Bring it on then. Thanks to you. Thanks to Adam Wood for joining us on the show as well. Get your comments in for the panellists. I know you've got loads of questions for Upping the Ante as well next week. Down below is the place to go. Don't forget to download the free must-have Racing Post app. You can do it on the App Store or the Google Play Store itself. So, from myself, Dave Orton, as Gil says, there's a lot of sport out there. Enjoy it.